What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Tiny Tyler here, and today I want to talk and share my thoughts on two game mechanics that I'm not entirely sure Game Freak should change. Maybe one of them could be explored, but two things that make logical sense to me as a shift that these game mechanics should take on. Both of these game mechanics are centered around status conditions, one being paralysis and the other being toxic. So let's just get right into it and talk about this, because the first one again being toxic, or I'm going to talk about toxic first and I'll come back to paralysis, because the toxic one is the one that, again, both these make a logical sense to me. I don't know if they would both be good for game balance purposes, specifically what I'm going to share about the paralysis thing. And so when it comes to toxic, what I am offering or inviting here is that toxic should work to special attackers much like burn does to physical attackers. So in other words, toxic should, I don't know if half or three, or go to like 3/4. It should, let's just say half. It should half a special attacker's output, much like a burn does to a physical attacker. And to me, this just makes a lot of sense, because when we look at special attackers, we may be able to view it as they are, like, psychic types are notorious for special attacking, but it's more of like a mental capacity, like psychic abilities and things of that sort. And so it makes sense to me that it should, toxic, specifically badly poisoned toxic, should have a special attacker's output. Because if they aren't able to think clearly, because they're because they're dealing with toxic poison, it would make sense that they wouldn't be able to control their inner ability, their psychic abilities, their telepathy, or whatever that special ability is that allows them to be so powerful. Like whether it's Greninja creating one of his giant shurikens, or Delphox creating a fire blast from a magic wand. Like, those take an extreme amount of mental fortitude, so it makes sense to me that a badly poisoned toxic should hinder their ability to perform their special strengths at the highest capacity. Now I think we could probably play with it a little bit more and be like, if it's not a badly poisoned, maybe it's like it cuts the special attack down to 3/4 rather than half. But either way, I believe that poison should do the same thing to special attackers that burn does to physical attackers. Again, it just makes logical sense to me, because physical attackers have so much more going against them in the game too. I almost feel like it would balance the scales a bit more, where it would like physical attackers have to deal with burn and then intimidate all the time, where, I mean, there are ways around that now, but special attackers don't have to worry about that as much. I mean, what is there? What lower special attacks? Certain attacks do, like Moonblast and things of that sort, and Mystical Fire, but other than that, there's just Parting Shot, really. So I think this would balance that out as far as special attackers and physical attackers are concerned. And again, we could play with it a little bit more to kind of fine tune it so that there is an actual game balance. Game balance is incentivized in it. So that's the first one, and that's the one that I feel like is that can definitely be introduced like today, and it would actually benefit the game. But the second one is about paralysis, and this one I don't actually know if I don't think it would be good for game balance at all. But when it comes to paralysis, one thing that, because again, paralysis is already a wildly unpredictable aspect of the game that is wildly infuriating, if you know what I mean. And one of the things that, to me, just logically speaking, that makes a lot of sense is that if you're paralyzed and you're battling a Pikachu uses any electric type move, it makes sense to me that it should increase the probability that the paralysis will make you unable to move. So in other words, like if I was paralyzed and Pikachu used Thunderbolt on me, instead of it being a 50-50 chance whether paralysis causes me to be unable to move, it's like an 80% chance. And again, I don't think this would be fair for game balance at all, because all you need to do is Thunder Wave everybody on the other team. I mean, you'd probably need a lot of ground immunities at that point, but Thunder Wave everybody, and then just go spamming electric attacks. You know, and then with Terra, you could use like a Terra Electric Mold Breaker Excadrill that can. No, actually that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work because it's still ground immunity, not a. It wouldn't make sense. Okay, in my mind, I'm thinking that the Mold Breaker allows them to hit past their what do you call it? Their typing, but that actually wouldn't work. But yeah, I mean, again, it makes logical sense that it would work that way. But again, in practice, I don't actually think that would be fair for game balance, even in the slightest. So that's just where I'm at. Again, I think the poison, my point on poison could be really, I think it could bring a lot of a lot of balance to the game, as far as balancing out the potency of physical attackers and special attackers. It feels like physical attackers are at an disadvantage, competitively speaking. There's so much more going for special attackers than there is physical attackers. So again, I think that could bring a level of game balance there, but paralysis, my idea on paralysis definitely wouldn't work. But I just like the idea, and I wanted to throw it out there because logically it makes sense to me, but for game balance it wouldn't work. But anyway, y'all, that's going to be it for the video. I'm going to wrap it up there. Just want to introduce those. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. If you think the toxic idea would actually be worse for game balance, it wouldn't help at all. And if you actually think that the paralysis idea could be beneficial, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Right now, it just seems like a fun concept to explore, but nothing that would actually bring benefit to the game. So that's it. That's all, y'all. Thank you for tuning in and watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube algorithm things, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.